Hello everybody, Gozmatic here, and today I've got the Mark II upgrades for weapons in the Gunrunning DLC for GTA Online. Now this is an episode in my series called GTA 5 Gun Guide, where we take a look at all the weapons in GTA 5, and we talk about the stats, how to unlock them, and just a general review of these weapons in GTA 5 and GTA Online. So in this video, we are going to be taking a look at all the 6 new weapons that were added in the Gunrunning DLC, and these are Mark II variants of 6 different weapons that were already in the base game. Now these weapons are the pistol, the SMG, the assault rifle, the carbine rifle, the combat MG, and the heavy sniper. So they're all, base game weapons, and now they are seeing a Mark II upgrade that you can apply to your weapon. Now there are a few requirements to unlock these weapons. First off, you are going to need a bunker, and then you are going to need to buy an mobile operations center. And then you also need to put a weapon workshop or a weapon and vehicle workshop inside your mobile operations center. And once you go into that weapon workshop, you will be able to unlock these weapons. They will cost anywhere from about $80,000 to $160,000 to unlock and upgrade. And that's not counting the extra attachments. But in this video, I want to be taking a look at these weapons all in one video and talking about what has changed from the original weapon and then what you unlock with the new Mark II variant. And all of these weapons do have higher damage by varying amounts. And then also some have different quirks and different. But before I get into this video, I do want to give a huge shout out to Kesha F1 on the GTA forums, who was the person who posted this weapon information. But anyway, so let's start off with what the Mark II weapons change in GTA Online. So the pistol Mark II is the cheapest weapon to upgrade. And this does increase its damage from 26 all the way up to 32. Now it's still not the highest pistol damage wise. There are 5 other pistols that still do more damage. Those would be the heavy pistol, the vintage pistol, the 50 caliber pistol, the heavy revolver, and the marksman pistol. So even then, I would almost always still consider the heavy pistol and the vintage pistol to be better, especially the heavy pistol, because you can have 36 rounds in that thing. Compared to this, which, even if you get an extended mag, is still not even going to be close to how good the heavy pistol really is. But if you are going to get the pistol Mark II, it'll take anywhere from 8 to 11 shots to kill another player. That variance there depends on what level they are. So if they're, level 1, it'll be 8 shots. If they're above level 100, it'll be all the way up at 11 shots to kill. Also, another thing I want to say is that if you want to get more information on the original weapons, and where I show off more information on those, then there are going to be links in the description to the full playlist of GTA 5 Gun Guide videos. But anyways, that's the pistol. Honestly, not that great. If you want a good pistol in GTA Online, you're still probably going to be able to get better weapons with the AP pistol, the heavy pistol, and other, higher caliber pistols anyways. Next up is the SMG Mark II, which also gets an increase to its damage by 3. And now the damage is 25, whereas the original SMG was 22. So not that big of an increase in damage, but this is actually kind of a good thing because if you are going up against an NPC or an enemy that has 100 health, then you will actually be able to 4-shot them compared to before where it would be 5 shots. So that is quite good. If you are going up against another player, it'll be 10 to 14 shots to kill him. So it's a decent SMG, but it's still an SMG. And most of the SMGs already in the game aren't all that great. And if you still want the highest damage SMG, then I still suggest go with the combat PDW. And at longer ranges, the assault SMG still doesn't have any range drop off. So you could just go with that. And also the SMG can be used on bikes and in boats. So it is pretty good for that as well. So if you ride a lot of bikes, you may want to go with the SMG. But even then, the compact rifle can be used on bikes. And that can hold more ammo with a drum magazine. And also it does higher damage. Next up is the assault rifle, which actually gets a very good damage increase to 40 damage. Now it was 30 before, so you are getting an increase of 10 damage, which is actually pretty good. This is now the highest damage assault rifle, beating out what was previously the highest, which was the advanced rifle. Now, the weapon still does have a lower rate of fire and a lower accuracy than the advanced rifle, and the advanced rifle will still have a higher damage per second. However, if you just care about damage and that's it, and you just want, the highest damage assault rifle, then you do want to go with the assault rifle Mark II. It'll be anywhere from 6 to 9 shots to kill another player, whereas the advanced rifle was 7 to 10 shots. However, I do find it quite good that now the assault rifle, which was always, the worst assault rifle in the game because, it was the first one. It just had bad rate of fire and a bad accuracy and then also a bad damage. It now has something under its belt. It still has a pretty bad accuracy and a pretty bad rate of fire compared to other assault rifles. However, it does have higher damage, so in select scenarios, you may want to go with the assault rifle instead if you just value damage over other stats in the game. Next up is the carbine rifle, which disappointingly doesn't get that big of an increase. It only gets an increase of 1 damage, so that means that it would be doing 33 damage, whereas it was 32. But this is actually not that terrible because against other players, it can take 1 less shot in some select scenarios. So now it'll be 8 to 10 shots to kill another player depending on their rank, but the original carbine rifle would actually take 11 shots to kill somebody above level 100. So now it is going to be a little bit more consistent. If that's what you value and you don't want, somebody that's a level 100 to feel much different than somebody who's level 1, the Carbine Rifle Mark II is actually quite good for you because it's going to be only 8 to 10 shots. There's only a 2-shot difference. Disappointingly, it's not that great of an increase, and there's no increase to, spread or rate of fire or anything else like that. Next up is the Heavy Sniper, which has an increase to its damage, which is now 233 damage, where it used to be 219 damage. Now, one thing to keep in mind with the Heavy Sniper is it does have a network damage multiplier. It's one of 2 guns in the game that has that. And what that network damage multiplier is whenever you are shooting at another player, it'll be doing 1.39 times the damage compared to if you shoot at an NPC or, vehicle or anything like that. So this means that if you're shooting at another player, it'll be doing 319 damage, whereas before it was 300 damage against another player. So it's actually a little bit more consistent. Now, this doesn't mean that you could one-shot, body shot everyone in your path. It'll be one shot against most other players, but if you are going up against somebody who's above level 100, it'll still take 2 shots to kill. However, it is still better because if you're going up against somebody from level 80 to 99, whereas before that would take 2 shots, now it'll only take 1 shot. So that's actually kind of a good thing. But just know that it's not going to always one-shot kill people if they are above level 100, as well as if you hit the limbs on somebody, so, their arms or their legs, you're still only going to be doing 25% of the damage. That's still a feature or, a bug or whatever. They've never fixed it. And if you want to know more about the Heavy Sniper, I will have a link in the description where I talk about more about why the Heavy Sniper is sometimes inconsistent and why sometimes people think that it's been nerfed and stuff, even though it really hasn't. And this is actually kind of a good buff to it. And then finally, let's talk about the Combat SMG Mark II. Now, this gets an increase to its damage by 2, which isn't all that much. So now it'll be doing a damage of 47, whereas before it did a damage of 45. Now, this will mean that it will take 6 or 7 shots to kill another player, which is actually very good. It just absolutely destroys enemies, but it was already like that. So the Combat SMG Mark II isn't that much better. You're not going to be seeing that much of an increase in your performance with it. However, one thing I did notice, and I don't know if this was just me, because whenever I looked at the game coding and all that, the time between shots on all these weapons are the same. Whenever I actually did a side-by-side testing of the original and in the Mark II weapons, which you are seeing on your screen right now, the only weapon that had a higher fire rate was the Combat SMG Mark II. Now, I don't know if this was just, error on my part or, what, but it did actually, go through its entire magazine faster than the original Combat SMG. So I don't know why, maybe there's something wrong with the animations, because a lot of people do say that the rate of fire in GTA Online is also tied to your animations. So maybe there's something weird with that, but all the other weapons are the exact same rate of fire except for the Combat SMG, and that may just be me, I'm not sure. However, just know that all the other weapons have pretty much the same spread, the same rate of fire, same accuracy most of the time. So overall, if you are just gonna get the base Mark II weapons and not upgrade them any bit further, the only 2 weapons I could really recommend would be the Assault Rifle, because it does actually have some good damage whenever you upgrade it, and then also maybe the Heavy Sniper. Although the Heavy Sniper already did a lot of damage, it's just a little bit more consistent now with that higher damage, especially against other players. But I don't feel like that's Rockstar's intention anyways with these Mark II upgrades. because you've got many other attachments that you can put on your weapons, whether it's ammo types, heavy barrels, different camos, and different sights and compensators and all of that, and pretty much a lot of different items that you can put on your gun to increase their damage and increase their effectiveness. So in this video, I was just talking about the base weapons without any upgrades or anything like that. However, that's not really their intended purpose. While they do get slight increases here and there, the reason why most people want to go for these weapons is those other attachments that you can put on, whether it's, different ammo types, and, some of these weapons, even though they may not be that great in their base form, once you put on some select attachments and you outfit them in the correct way, they can be absolutely devastating. Something like the SMG, if you use that on a bike and you want to go take out other players in vehicles, if you put on some full metal jacket rounds on that, that thing could absolutely destroy vehicles so fast and penetrate armored vehicles. Which say also another ammo type that a lot of people have kind of been discussing. It's a little bit controversial, but that is the heavy sniper with explosive rounds. That thing absolutely destroys vehicles and even other players. It can just blow them up from a long range distance. Also, there are other ways to increase the damage, like incendiary rounds, armor piercing rounds, and even other attachments like the heavy barrel. That's an absolutely amazing attachment as well. And I'll be making videos on those as well and talking about those in future. However, in this video, I just wanted to talk about the Mark II variants themselves and what they change. To be honest, the only one that really changes a lot is the Assault Rifle Mark II, and that's what I do recommend if you are going to go for at least one. However, all of them are slight increases, and you're not really getting that many drawbacks, besides one, and that is that none of these can have drum magazines on. So if you had a drum magazine on the SMG, the Assault Rifle, or the Carbine Rifle, you are not going to be able to get that. You can still get extended magazines, but not drum magazine. And also, they are very expensive, so you are going to have to spend a lot of money to get these just to unlock them. And then after all that, upgrading them as well will cost you money. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know your favorite Mark II weapon in the comments, as well as check back soon for my next video in this series, which will most likely be on the different ammo types for these Mark II weapons. I hope you all enjoyed. Feedback is always appreciated, and I will see you guys in the next video.